Imagine a country where police rarely carry guns, where children walk to school alone, where the murder rate is so low, entire years can go by without a single case. Welcome to Iceland, a volcanic island in the North Atlantic that consistently ranks as the safest country in the world. But what makes it so peaceful? Let's dive in. For over a decade, Iceland has held the top spot on the Global Peace Index, a report that evaluates 163 nations on everything from violent crime and incarceration to terrorism and political stability. Iceland doesn't just score well, it dominates the rankings. But why is that? Let's start with the numbers. Iceland has a population of just under 400,000, that's smaller than most cities, and the overall level of violence is still among the lowest in the world. Most police officers don't carry guns, and the country's reputation for safety is built on a deep sense of trust and community resilience. But here's the twist: Icelanders do have access to guns. In fact, gun ownership per capita is relatively high, ranking in the top 15 globally. So why don't we see gun violence? Because owning a gun in Iceland requires rigorous background checks, psychological evaluations, safety training, and thorough registration. The culture around firearms is centered on hunting, not self-defense or power. Now let's talk about law enforcement. The Icelandic police force, known as lögreglan, is unarmed during daily patrols. They focus on community engagement and conflict de-escalation. Iceland's only special armed unit, the Viking Squad, is rarely deployed, and deadly force is almost never used. In fact, since Iceland's independence in 1944, police have only killed one person, ever. This peaceful culture is backed by a deeply rooted sense of trust, not just in law enforcement, but in society itself. Iceland consistently ranks among the highest in the world for social trust. People trust their neighbors, their institutions, and their government. You'll often see bikes left unlocked, children playing freely, and strangers offering help without hesitation. Part of that trust comes from Iceland's strong welfare system. Universal healthcare, free higher education, affordable childcare, and comprehensive social services mean that no one is left behind. This reduces desperation and poverty, two major drivers of crime in many parts of the world. But Iceland's safety isn't just about policies, it's cultural too. Icelanders grow up in a tight-knit community mindset. With such a small population, anonymity is rare. Chances are your co-worker is also your cousin's neighbor's best friend. This social interconnectedness creates an informal system of accountability. When people know each other, and know they'll likely run into each other again, they behave differently. Then there's gender equality. Iceland is consistently ranked as the most gender-equal country on Earth. It was the first nation to elect a female president back in 1980. And in 2024, that legacy continued when the country once again chose a woman as president. Icelandic law also requires companies to prove they're paying men and women equally for the same work, and parental leave is split evenly between mothers and fathers. This focus on equality and dignity further supports a more harmonious, less violent society. But Iceland hasn't always been a model of peace. The country went through a dramatic financial collapse in 2008, sparking public protests and a total overhaul of its political system. But rather than descending into chaos, the country emerged stronger. Citizens participated in rewriting the constitution, prosecuting corrupt bankers, and holding politicians accountable. The peaceful way in which Iceland handled its crisis became a global example of resilience. And let's not forget geography. Iceland's isolated location in the middle of the North Atlantic means it has few geopolitical tensions. It doesn't border any other country, and immigration is closely managed. Its small size makes coordination between government agencies easier and quicker than in larger nations. Even natural disasters, which Iceland experiences frequently, from volcanic eruptions to earthquakes, are met with calm and preparedness. The country invests heavily in public safety education and early warning systems, so while nature might be wild, society remains steady. Interestingly, Iceland also has a strong culture of storytelling. From ancient sagas to contemporary novels, Icelanders grow up surrounded by tales that emphasize morality, consequences, and community. Perhaps this narrative tradition has subtly shaped a population that values peace and responsibility. Religion in Iceland is low-key and non-dogmatic. While most Icelanders are registered with the national church, regular church attendance is low, and religion doesn't dominate politics or education. This creates a secular, tolerant society where different beliefs can coexist peacefully. Iceland even approaches justice differently. The prison population is among the lowest in the world, and the system focuses on rehabilitation rather than punishment. Inmates can leave prison for work or school during the day. The goal isn't to isolate criminals, but to reintegrate them into society. So what happens when something does go wrong? The media, largely independent and trusted, plays a key role in informing the public without inciting fear. Panic is rare and facts come first. Of course, no country is perfect. Iceland still struggles with challenges like domestic violence, substance abuse, and the occasional political scandal. But the difference is how these issues are addressed. Openly, collectively, and with a strong belief in progress. In the end, Iceland's safety isn't a happy accident. It's the result of thoughtful policies, cultural cohesion, and a commitment to fairness. It's a society that values trust over suspicion, care over control, and people over politics. So what can the rest of the world learn from Iceland? Maybe that peace isn't just the absence of violence, it's the presence of equity, empathy, and trust. And in a world that's often loud and chaotic, Iceland reminds us that quiet can be powerful. What do you think? Does Iceland sound like a place you'd like to visit or live? What factors do you think are most important for a country's safety? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content, exploring fascinating places and topics around the world. Thanks so much for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.